When things get really challenging, societally speaking, do we tend to see people become more religious, or do we see people move away from religion? And then the second part to that is, how has this affected the Catholic Church?
Yeah, in answer to the first part of your question, I say yes tends to be the answer. And the reason for it is religion tends to flourish when people are brought to certain limits. See, as long as I'm living my life, I'm basically happy, I'm having my needs met and so on, okay, I'm all right. But when I come up against limits, so I become sick, I fail, someone in my family dies, my business collapses, at those moments when I'm more vulnerable and I feel the limits of my own finitude, I tend to look to what stands beyond the finite. I tend to look toward God, So it's not like, there's religion as a crutch. No, I think it's a natural instinct that when we come up against the limits of our ordinary experience, we tend to look toward God. What's going to happen in the current situation? It's too early to tell. We don't know. My biggest fear, to tell you the truth, right now is that people aren't going to come back to church, because we have now for almost a year, and legitimately, we've suspended the obligation to come to Mass on Sunday, which is, a very serious moral obligation. But we've suspended that because we've said, look, to keep yourselves safe. So people have gotten into the habit now, most people, of not going to Mass on Sunday. That concerns me a lot. And whether we can recover, I think we gotta really work overtime to make sure that people don't stay away.
Yeah, I'll have to say, Bishop, I think people will come back, because I know for myself, part of the value that I get going to church is being with other people, and I haven't been able to replicate that. Yeah, with Zoom, even this interview with you now through Zoom, it's just not the same. You don't get that same connection. So I
hope you're right. I sincerely hope you're right. That people feel just that way. Because, as Catholics, I'll tell you one thing. This was a few weeks ago. It was the governor of Virginia, I think, and he was talking about the shutdowns, and he said, hey, look, you don't need to come to church. You can worship God anywhere and in your heart. Well, I did a little video on it because I said, no, say what you want about that, but that's a very Protestant way to understand that worship is just an interior, personal, individual thing. Catholics feel very strongly about what you just said, that we come together. We come together as the mystical body of Christ. And the fact that we worship together corporately matters immensely. And it's not like okay to say, oh, you're fine, and you go your way, and you go to the woods and worship, and you go to the beach. And no, Catholics don't believe that. We believe it's very important to come together in a sacred place, where Christ is really present in the Eucharist, and that we worship together. So I hope you're right. I sincerely do, that people sense that and they want to come back.